90% of you are currently operating on factory default settings. You eat, write, and open doors with your right hand. But if you have ever tried to cut a piece of paper with left-handed scissors, you have witnessed a crack in the physical matrix. Why is exactly 1 in 10 humans built backwards? Why has the universe spent thousands of years treating southpaws like a software error? Most pop science channels will tell you left-handedness is just a random roll of the genetic dice, or a product of strict childhood discipline. They are lying. And because this is splendidly silly science, we are not going to hand-wave this away with evolutionary fairy tales. Your dominant hand is actually a structural side effect of when our ancestors stood up on 2 legs and completely broke their own system architecture. This is not a story about hand coordination. It is a story about a desperate, high-stakes real estate crisis inside your own head. Our brains literally ran out of physical space. When evolution decided to turn a tree-dwelling ape into an upright, tool-using, talking intellectual, it forgot to upgrade the hardware. It had to bundle 2 of our most expensive processing tasks into the exact same folder. Let us go back 300,000 years. The moment we committed to bipedalism, our hands were permanently freed from the monotonous task of not face-planting into the dirt. We started making tools. Complex, deadly tools. Throwing a spear or carving a stone requires immense motor precision. To coordinate this, the brain had to allocate millions of high-speed neurons specifically to hand control. Because of how our biology is wired, the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. If you want a precise right hand, your left hemisphere has to do the heavy lifting. But then came the real system breaker. Complex language. We did not just need to throw rocks, we needed to explain to our cousin why throwing rocks at a mammoth was a fantastic idea. Language is computationally expensive. It requires millisecond precise coordination of vocal cords, tongue movements, and syntax ordering. The brain was facing an absolute bandwidth catastrophe. You might look at this and say, simple. Just put motor control on the left and language on the right. System balanced. Well, if you thought that, you do not understand the sheer laziness of evolutionary architecture. Sending signals across the bridge connecting the 2 halves of your brain, the corpus callosum, takes time. It introduces a physical latency of about 15 to 30 milliseconds. In a prehistoric world, a 30-millisecond delay between seeing a predator, deciding to shout a warning, and throwing your spear is the difference between surviving and becoming an organic snack. To eliminate this latency, the brain did something brilliant. It compressed them. It bundled fine motor control and language syntax into the exact same physical neighborhood in the left hemisphere. By keeping both systems on the left, the brain did not have to send data across the interhemispheric bridge. Language and right-hand dominance are not 2 separate traits. They are a single pre-installed software bundle. This is why 90% of the global population is right-handed. It is not culture. It is a space-saving optimization patch to prevent our heads from exploding. But what about the other 10%? If this left hemisphere bundle is so phenomenally optimized, why did the simulation allow left-handers to spawn at all? Surely natural selection should have deleted them long ago. Enter the fighting hypothesis. In prehistoric combat, everyone was trained and adapted to fight right-handed opponents. When a right-handed warrior faced a lefty, their reaction times were completely thrown off by the mirrored angles. This is what biologists call frequency-dependent selection. Left-handedness is a tactical cheat code, but only as long as it remains rare. If everyone is a hacker, the hack stops working. But there is a modern cost to this evolutionary glitch, because left-handers do not use the default left hemisphere bundle. Their brains have to organize themselves completely on the fly. Left-handers are far more likely to have symmetric brains, meaning they process language and motor skills across both hemispheres simultaneously. They have turned off the compression algorithm. This makes many southpaws exceptionally good at spatial reasoning, art, and 3D visualization. They are running on custom, uncompressed operating systems. The catch? A higher risk of learning anomalies, dyslexia, and stuttering. When your brain is constantly forcing data to cross that slow 30-millisecond bridge, packets get dropped. Scientists have isolated at least 40 different genetic regions associated with left-handedness. Many of these genes are responsible for building the cytoskeleton, the literal scaffolding that gives cells their shape. This means the glitch is deep-coded. The very molecules that construct your physical form have a built-in directional bias. The simulation is fundamentally asymmetric at the molecular level. And it gets weirder. Chirality, or directional handedness, is not just a human problem. It is a universal law. Almost all life on Earth is built using exclusively left-handed amino acids. If you tried to build a biological organism using right-handed amino acids, the proteins would fold backwards, your cells would fail to function, and you would dissolve into organic slurry. Even fundamental physics is biased. The weak nuclear force, one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, only interacts with left-handed particles. The universe itself is physically left-handed. It is almost as if the developers of our universe got lazy, wrote the code for one directional orientation, and copy-pasted it across the entire cosmos to save rendering budget. So, when you see a left-handed person struggling with a simple pair of scissors or a spiral notebook, do not mock them. They are not clumsy. They are living monuments to a pre-installed evolutionary bundle that saved your ancestors from being eaten by saber-toothed cats. They are running on custom firmware. Our entire reality is built on these tiny, compressed shortcuts, from the physical space inside your skull to the chiral orientation of your proteins. Securing your terminal to our main diagnostic interface ensures you will always receive our latest system updates before the physics engine decides to patch them out. Which brings us to the ultimate system diagnostic. If 90% of our brain space optimization depends on our physical asymmetry, would a perfectly symmetrical, double-dominant human be a biological god, or would their operating system immediately crash on boot?